Here are 5 common title problems that you want to avoid when you're buying a car on Craigslist. Number 1 is make sure you're not purchasing a car with a certificate of destruction or non-repairable title history. Many of these cars on Craigslist, people have purchased through Copart Auto Auction or insurance auto auctions, and they have a history, not just a salvage title, because that can be somehow dealt with, but a certificate of destruction or non-repairable title is something where the VIN number is canceled. It can never be put on the road again. You want to avoid that. Number 2 is make sure you're not getting a jump title or a skip title. That means a title certificate that's been signed over from the person on the front to some other buyer on the back, and they're trying to sign it over to you. That's not going to work. You can't reassign a title once it's been signed over to somebody else on the back. It'll be void and you won't be able to get a new title in your name. Make sure you're not getting an open title. Make sure it's not signed over from somebody on the front and there's no name listed on the bottom, because the person you're buying it from may not be the legal title owner and there may be some other issues with the title. Make sure you're not buying a vehicle with liens or back taxes on the car. Sometimes there's past due registration fees that have to be paid before a new title can be issued. Even if you get a title in hand, signed over to you, everything's good. If there's past due taxes or fees, you might be liable for those before you get a new title. Number 4 is make sure the VIN number that's on the title and on your bill of sale matches the VIN number that's on the vehicle, and check multiple locations. Don't just look at the dashboard VIN number. Look on the door jamb, look underneath. There's usually 6 or 7 different places where a VIN number may appear on a vehicle depending on the year. And then number 5 is get good documentation. Get a bill of sale, get a signature, look at the seller's ID. Make sure you're identifying who you're giving your money to. Make sure it's the same name that's on the title. If you're buying a car and the person is John Smith, make sure the title isn't Sally Jones, because if Sally Jones is not there to sign over the car, you don't know if that signature and that assignment is valid. Take a picture of the seller so you have an identity. See if there's a license plate on the car. Get any other documentation that can identify them. Here's a bonus number 6 is don't buy a vehicle where you're getting a duplicate title. And if you're getting an original title, verify there was no duplicate issued. We've had a lot of issues that people have called us up where they got a title, but that was a title that has been voided because a duplicate title was issued after that. So make sure you're getting the active title, not a duplicate. And of course, this is all in addition to the normal mechanical inspections and the evaluation of the vehicle that you would do. And even once you buy the vehicle, think about how you're going to get it from point A to B. Once you give the money and you buy it, how are you going to drive it back home? Because you're not going to have a valid registration. And don't use a license plate that's on the vehicle that the seller left on there, because you don't know if that license plate is stolen, if it's got any hits on it, or any items that would result in the vehicle being towed and impounded if you are driving it away. Make sure you get insurance in advance, so if, God forbid, something happens to the car while you're driving it, you're covered. And make sure you get a title in hand. This is the best advice. Get a title handed to you at the time you give money, because if you don't, there's a risk that the seller will never follow through in getting you the title. They might tell you it's lost or they have to get a duplicate, but unless you get the title in hand, it's very likely that as soon as you give the money, you're going to try to contact them, you'll text them, you'll call them, and they'll block you because you won't have any leverage with them anymore because they already have your money.